over the next two classes is the importance of goals and how they can help us deal with stress, how they can help us deal with procrastination, how we can become more efficient. Not perfectly so. By the end of the 2 weeks, you're not going to be a well-oiled machine. You're just going to be a happier human being, which I think is a lot. So first of all, the topics that we'll talk about under goal setting. First, understand the theory and the practice of goal setting, the ivory tower and the main street of it. Second, how do we deal with stress? We'll talk about this in the next class. And finally, I don't think we'll have time for this, but I'm still leaving up the PowerPoints there just so you can look at it, and I elaborate on it in the book. Moving from material perception to happiness perception, which is essentially what I talk about in the last meditation of the book, the happiness revolution, an internal revolution that can take place. I don't think we'll have time for it before break, but you'll still have the material on it. So let's begin with theory and practice. What I want to do now is convince you very simply to set goals. Convince you that it's important, and yeah, you're going to do it for your response papers, and you have started already doing it. But I really want you to convince you as a way of life, of setting goals regularly, whether in a business, whether in your personal life. First, I'm going to do it by showing you the research on setting goals and performance, and second, setting goals and happiness, how it can contribute to our success in the conventional currency, as well as in the ultimate currency. Quite simply, people who set goals are generally controlling for other things more successful. Why? One of the main reasons is because what goals do is they focus us. Very often we're all over the place, we're not sure where we're going, and if we don't know where we're going, we're unlikely to get there. And the focus gets us directed. It brings forth resources, external and internal resources that are necessary to get there. Abraham Maslow, being focused on a task produces organization for efficiency both within the organism and in the environment. Quite remarkable how goals actually work. When we set a goal, when we enter something, whether it's privately but even better publicly, things begin to happen inside us as well as around us. Also, goals contribute to performance and well-being because they strengthen our resilience. Remember the second class when we talked about resilience, one of the things that distinguished those kids who were successful despite difficult external circumstances was the fact that they were resilient, and one of the distinguishing characteristics was that they set goals for themselves. They were future-oriented. Not only thinking about the past, being learning to be helpless, but focusing on the future. Nietzsche once wrote that if we have a what for, every how becomes possible. When we have a what for, every how becomes possible. And we're much more likely to overcome difficulties and hardships. If we have a goal, a mission, something that we care about, something that we want to attain. Goals make us more successful for the exact same reason that positive beliefs do. What we're doing with goals, we're declaring that we believe that we're going to get something. Roger Bannister said that he will break the 4-minute barrier. Thomas Edison said that by the 31st of December 1879, he will generate light from electricity. Setting goals makes it more likely to come true because our mind does not like when there is an inconsistency between what is inside and what is outside. It wants there to be a match. And if I believe in a goal and I declare a goal, the outside is likely to match that. Again, not 100% correlation as we've discussed, but certainly making it much more likely to happen, making us much more likely to be successful. And what is the knapsack? Imagine the following. You go on a road trip and you have a knapsack on your back and you reach a wall, a barrier. What do you do? Well, there are many things you can do when you reach that wall, and that wall is long and high. One way is to say, okay, pity, and turn around. In other words, avoid that wall. Another thing we can do is take out our sledgehammer and try and break it down. Another thing that we can do, before we do any of the other things, is take our knapsack and throw it over the wall. Take our knapsack and simply throw it over the wall. Why? Because necessity is the mother of invention. I need my knapsack to continue. I need my knapsack. I want it. And now that it's over the wall, I have no choice but to get over that wall. Whether it's by breaking it down, whether it's by finding a way around it, under it, or over it. But suddenly, I will come up with solutions that I have not seen before. And this is how it works. It's remarkable how it works, for the exact same reason that when you declare a goal such as, I want to buy a computer, suddenly you see computer ads all around you, whereas before you didn't see computer ads. Or let's say you want to buy a specific car, suddenly you see that specific car all around you where you didn't see it before. Why? Because we co-create our reality through our questions to a great extent. Remember, the children on the bus were there all along, but you didn't see them until I presented a goal to you, which was to count the number of children on the bus. And then suddenly it was so clear that it was right in front of your eyes. Before it, they didn't exist for you. That's what a goal does. If I declare that I have to get over the wall, and my question is, how do I get over this wall? It's not thinking about, is it possible or is it not possible? It's rather, how can I get over this wall? This question opens up opportunities, many of which I have not seen before. Suddenly the children on the bus are right in front of me. Suddenly a hole in the wall is right in front of me. Suddenly I see a sledgehammer that I didn't see before right next to me. Necessity is the mother of inventions. If we ask the right questions, it opens up opportunities. The other thing that's at work here is the power of the word. Words create worlds. Let there be light. We see it in religion, and there was light. Words create the world. Book of John, in the beginning was the Word. But it's not just in religion. Look at this great country. The United States was declared into existence. Words have power. They have meaning, especially when the words are meaningful to us. When the goals that we declare are meaningful to us, they're much more likely to come true. The connection between concepts and conceive is not just etymological. It is also metaphysical. It is also real. Because when we declare something, when we say something, it is much more likely to become a reality. What words do is essentially create an image in our mind, especially if we imagine the goal. It creates an image in our mind, and the mind doesn't know the difference between the imaginary and the real, and the mind wants consistency. That is what goals do. They help us create consistency. I want to read you an excerpt that I talk about many of these things in the book. For some of you, this may be a repetition, but I want to read you an excerpt from W.H. Murray, who led the Scottish expedition to the Himalayas, one of the most prominent, accomplished climbers of all time, climbed the Everest. Here is what he says in his writing about the expeditions that he took. Concerning all acts of creation, there is one elementary truth. the ignorance of which kills countless ideas and splendid plans. That the moment one definitely commits oneself, then providence moves too. All sorts of things occur to help one that would not have otherwise occurred. A whole stream of events issues from the decision, raising in one's favor all manner of unforeseen incidents and meetings and material assistance which no man would have dreamed would come his way. I've learned a deep respect for one of Goethe's couplets. Whatever you can do or dream you can do, begin it. Boldness has genius, magic, and power in it. Why it works, how it works, we're not really sure, but it works. Just like when you declare that you're looking for a computer, suddenly you see all these opportunities. The same with commitments. When we commit, things begin to happen. We begin to identify external resources as well as internal resources, things that we didn't see before, because my question becomes, how can I succeed? And then children on the bus or the time on the clock suddenly become visible to us, and we're able to succeed, much more likely to succeed than before. Words create worlds. So this is about success. Very well documented. Some of your readings relate to this. People who set goals generally controlling for other factors are more successful, whether it's in business, whether it's in other personal lives. Goals matter. They don't just matter, though, for the quote-unquote hard currency. They also matter for the ultimate currency, the currency of happiness. Goals properly understood lead to happiness. And I emphasize properly understood. Why? Because we know that attaining goals, the attainment of a goal does not in and of itself lead to happiness. Yes, getting tenure will lead to a spike in my well-being, but very quickly I'll go back to my base level. Winning a lottery or making a lot of money or getting promoted at work will lead to a spike in my well-being, but it will not lead to long-lasting happiness. So that's temporary, we know that. So we know that the attainment of goals does not lead to happiness. What does lead to happiness? Understanding the proper role of goals, and understanding that it's not the attaining of a goal that leads to happiness, but the having of a goal that leads to happiness.